All right, hello there. I am Papa01, and this is Smackdown. Here comes the pain. So, my bad. Apologies, and it was on me. Sorry about the videos that I've been putting out about AGR, but they're all gone because I am starting that series completely over. Even the introduction video, which was just one video, gotta start that over too. Because let's get to the stuff that doesn't matter no more. So we're gonna talk about this. And the other thing, I don't have it on here because it was non-existent in the first place because not capable of doing it. So this series actually got started originally because I just didn't feel like continuing on doing it, and that probably was a good thing because these matches were going to take too long, and I probably had to do almost what another 12 or 15 more videos just for this part, the 9-man league, you know, because I had the dumb idea of saying the first to 5. So I don't regret stopping this because I already stopped it. I just never officially said anything about it, but that's all cool. We still got all 54 of these people competing and stuff like that because they're the one with the season mode ratings. What brings me up to that video I recently uploaded. Now only 8 people saw it or something like that. Other people may saw notifications for the video or something like that, but only 8 people like watched it or part of it or whatever the heck it was. No matter what that may be. But it was non-existent anyway. Why? Because Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Stephanie McMahon, Trish Stratus, Lita, Jazz, Tori Wilson, Sable, Victoria, and Stacy Keibler, those 10 characters don't actually have season mode ratings. Yeah, you can't even select them for season mode because they don't get season mode ratings and stuff like that. So those 10 characters that I was going to use to make it a 64-man crowning tournament, I can't do that. They got ratings. Their ratings are lower than everybody else's, but their ratings are 40, 50, and 60 something. How's that fair? With all the other characters gonna have a rating of 10. You know? How's that fair? So I just said forget it. Forget it. We're just gonna have to go back to 54, but now it's like no, cause then I'm gonna be back at the shit I hate the most, which is this part right here. We'll be right back at this again. So I was like, you know what? Scratch all of that. I'll just add some more people, and then we could just, do it that way. I just add it by creating 2 more people, so it's actually a 56. But before we even get to talking about any and all of that, I have to do what I should have done in the intro in the first place. I want to get rid of everything that has nothing to do with the series, for we don't have to bring it up or talk about that ever again. Because actually, what we need to talk about is me explaining what the AGR is, and that is the actual game roster. As you know, I feel like certain attributes are overpowered, or they basically cheats, And it's these 3 right here. We have strength, endurance, and technical. Strength and endurance, I'll explain it like if you were playing any freaking video game. Basically, the weaker character is the player, and then the character who has higher strength and endurance, they're basically the final boss character. Which means you, as the weaker player character who doesn't have as high as a strength or endurance attribute, one, your damage is laughable because of your strength level. 2, your endurance or health is laughable because of what number it is. In turn, the final boss, their strength can put you on life support, or just straight out kill you, or at least take away half your health. And they only gotta be their best move. Their best move would probably end you right away with a finisher or whatever like that. The same thing goes for endurance. You hit them, they be like, "Was that a fly or something?" You know, they'll think you threw a paper ball at them, and that'll be your finisher. Your finisher hitting them is like a paper ball hitting them, or like what's it? The Dark Souls characters. You know how the bosses be having like 10 and 25 freaking health bars and shit. You won't even take away half of one health bar. That's how laughable it is when your when your strength is way lower than your opponent's endurance or whatever like that. So that's how you explain strength and endurance on this game and stuff like that. Those attributes. And then technical is just you got basically the higher your technical is, you basically become Goku. You got Ultra Instinct, okay? That's the best way I could talk about it. Or you got the flow state. I think that's another word that people use for stuff like that. It's the flow state or whatever like that, where like you can just see everything in slow motion and counteractive and stuff like that, easier and stuff like that. So like basically you'll be able to reverse and counter attack everything way more easier. You know, you got a longer reaction window to press the counter button and stuff like that with the technical thing. The other two attributes, I believe, one is called submission. I think the other one is called agility. It may be called speed. No, yeah, it's called speed. And basically, those are not as egregious as these, but speed is not, because speed is just basically allow you to move better, your attacks come out quicker and stuff like that, and just overall this, that, the other. But certain strikes are fast on their own, you know? So you already need speed for all that crap and stuff like that. As far as movement, depending on what style of movement you pick, you could climb in and out the ring and up the ropes and stuff like that quicker anyway. So not really necessary with the speed and stuff. As far as running the ropes and running around and stuff like that, yeah, you can be a little bit faster, but I don't really see the difference between somebody moving super fast, somebody moving super slow in the game anyway. That brings us to submission. Submission, like I said, is not egregious as these three, but yeah, if you're a submission specialist, you want to hold submissions for longer periods of time and be able to reverse them easily and stuff like that. But my only problem with that is this: if you have a higher submission level, but you got weak ass submission moves, nobody want to see a chin lock or a headlock for 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, do it for the 10 or 5 seconds that you're gonna hold it for and be over with it. You know. And as far as like holding on the submissions for longer, use better submissions and they'll probably last longer. You know? That's it. Damn near all the attributes are not useful and they shouldn't even be there. Everybody should have the same amount of health, and depending on what type of moves you have, that should tell you how much damage you're gonna do. You know? And guess what? The difficulty setting should tell you how easily they can do reversals. You don't need no damn attributes so they can do reversals better and shit like that. The difficulty level of the game should let you know how often they can possibly do reversals in the first place. If anything, you can have AI logic that talks about how easily you can do one or the other, which reverses strikes or reverses submissions like they do in the later games and stuff. So I don't really blame the game for the attributes per se, but I do blame the game for them being terrible and why they exist in the first place. Whoever designed this game's attributes, they designed it so that the game will play exactly like TV. And that's my thing. What is the point? It's pointless, right? I can watch wrestling and watch John Cena win all the time, or Brock Lesnar, or Stone Cold, or this person, or The Rock, or whoever win all the time because That's how they're booked, you know? That's how it's prearranged or scripted or whatever you want to call it by the WWE, right? So what's the point of watching what you watch on TV and watch it play out in the video game stuff like this? Like, and it makes the matches go on way too long. Reason I do Iron Man because if I didn't, motherfucking matches would go 20 or 30 minutes. And the worst thing about that is that even though the wrestlers got a lot of moves to choose for, they usually only use like 5 or 6 moves with the standard grapples. I swear they do. I'd be like, you get, you got what? You get 16 moves for the front grapples, right? And I only be seeing them use like 5 or 6 of them. I'm like, what is going on with this game? And then the back grapples, I think you only get a total of 8. But I'm still like, why are they still only picking 1 or 2 of them to use and crap like that? Like, why they ain't going throughout the variety of them and stuff like that? You know, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, they used a lot of different moves all the time. And the same thing with the King of the Coliseum 2. Not saying nothing, but I am saying that the Japanese games are superior. They just are, okay? I don't like watching the AI do the gameplay and like, you know, the AI difficulty is up there, but like, is it really up there if they only gonna use like 5 moves and crap? But it is what it is for all that. So in conclusion, but what I was just talking about with that crap is what it is with all that. As you can hear from me talking, I don't have it as my favorite wrestling game. I do love the game though because I designed my characters, like the characters you watch with the Crafts Championship. They're basically the Marvel comics and the DC comic book heroes and villains and stuff like that. Basically, instead of them having a total of 16 moves, they got 8 moves because for the submission, I only gave them 2 moves. For the signature, I only gave them 2 moves. For the powerful, I only gave them 2 moves. And for the quick, I only gave them 2 moves and stuff like that. You know, because like, if they're not going to use the other moves anyway, what's the point of me designing a move set if you're only going to use half the shit anyway? So, that's why I did with that game or whatever. That's why I did with this game or whatever like that, as far as create characters. That's how I was able to create, 20 of them so quickly. Because I was like, you know what? They're not going to use all the moves anyway. And I want every character to have the exact same moves and shit. So I was like, let me try to, you know, mix and match with it. And like, it'll be simpler just to do that with it. So that's what goes on with that, with the game and wherever like that. They do got as many moves as they can have with the ground moves and, you know, the running moves and stuff like that. All the other stuff, they got as many moves as they can possibly want. And the high flying moves and whatnot. I think the tag team moves, they only get 2 or 3. I think 2 with the standing and 2 with the tag and 3 with the tagging out. Yeah. But it is what it is for all this stuff. No, I think it's 3 and 3. Yeah, it's 3 and 3. Yeah, but it is what it is with all this stuff. So that was goes on with that. Now we can talk about the actual roster. So like I said, there's 56 of them, right? So you got these 56 of them. The 54 that you saw that I was talking about earlier, plus 2 I created. And it's kind of hilarious because I call those attributes overpowered, and I have made a character called Overpowered. And Overpowered is nothing but a character that I gave some of the best moves to. That's all. That's the reason he's even called Overpowered. Cause I gave him some of the best moves and stuff like that. So that's why he's called Overpowered. And just like the rest of the roster, I gave him 16 moves and stuff like that. So he has as many moves as everybody else's stuff. But his moves are, as I said, overpowered. Gave him the best moves or whatever like that. So it is with that. Average is just average. He's like a default character, basically. He has nothing. His moveset is nothing. His everything else with the attributes, it's the same thing as everybody else, except for he got one point extra for strength, and overpower has 1 point extra for endurance. So that's what it is with all that stuff, you know. So that's how we go about that stuff. Now we can actually start talking about what we need to talk about. So now this right here, I'm gonna put the thing right there. This right here, where you see all the ranked matches are Iron Man, but in case of a draw in Iron Man matches, tiebreaker go to the competitor who scores the most first. So whoever scores the most falls first will win in the Iron Man if it's an event of a tie. That's how you do the tiebreaker. Whoever has the most falls first or whatever. So let's say the match goes to 10 minutes. Whoever scored one, if the score is 1-1, whoever scored the first fall first is the winner. If it ends in 2-2, whoever scored two first is the winner. Same thing with 3, 4, and 5. I mean 3 and 4, because it's the first to 5. And then in the event of because the title match is now going to be where it's just, you know, we're not going to concern ourselves with all that stuff. Like, it's going to be as many falls as you could get within the 10-minute time frame. That's how the final, and that's how the championship will always be. Whoever can score the most within the 10 minutes. You know, we ain't gonna set them to like first to 5 or any of that crap. So I gotta get rid of all that crap anyway. The first to 5 stuff. When it comes to the title match, that is, or whatever like that. So we have the round of 56. That's 7 8-man tournaments, okay? And all the matches will be first to 3 falls. So the winners will go on to the final 8. That's 7 comparators who automatically going on to the final 8. The last spot is reserved because all the second places will compete in the last chance tournament. And the last chance tournament will be a 7-man Iron Man 1 fall league. And first place goes to the final 8. So 1 fall league, Iron Man 1 fall league, which means the first person to get a fall wins that match. And those matches are going to go way quicker. So a 7-man league is going to take 21 matches. And so those 21 matches go by quicker. We're going to do the first fall, get you the victory. And we already got that set up right here. So we just need to figure out who came in second. And they're going to be going right there or whatever like that. And other than that, that's everything we need to talk about. As always, I just left the roster up to the way the roster is. So like, we basically put in the alphabetical order, and that's who Group 1 is. And then you see right here, number 1 through 7, then 1 through 7. This is just an easy way to do it. That I figure out how to do it through a lot of other games I'd be playing and stuff like that. 1 through 7, 1 through 7, and stuff like that. Shoot, it's on here already because that's how I did this, except for instead of 1 through 7, I did A, B, C, D, E. So A, B, C, D, E. And then you see A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. You know? And that's how I was figuring this stuff out. So other things, play factors, and all this junk or whatnot. Right here is basically for when we get done with all 7 of the tournaments. And the question mark is because that's for the final chance. Final chance is going to be going against, you know, the victor from, you know, the first tournament or whatever like that. So that's basically how this crap is going to go or whatnot. And the first thing we're going to do is Group 1. And basically, I'm going to take off everybody with the 1 next to their name. And that's how we're going to slowly get rid of the entire roster of this being right here or whatnot. You know, because once we get done with this, we're probably not going to need it again or whatever like that. But yeah, that's how we're going to do everything. So yeah, I explained everything. This took under 20 minutes. I was rambling on about the video games for a minute. I thought it was going to take longer than that. Okay, just over 20 minutes. That's great. Yeah, so this is the actual official final time I'm making the introduction because this is the one. This is and this has been let me end the video. Damn it, before I start messing up more. This is the AGR series introduction and all the information you need to know. You know, so I'm gonna title the video probably Smackdown Here Comes the Bang, AGR series introduction and info. That's gonna be the title of this video. So until the next one later, and hope you enjoy it. Also, if you ever wanna see that stuff that I was saying about talking about what AGR actually is and stuff like that, it's on here. Right? It's on here. So let's see, where is that playlist at? That playlist is right here. Yeah. So it's on here. See? Yep, that's on here. So if you're ever wondering what it's about, you can always just look at the playlist to figure out. I also put in description for people could just go look at it and figure and find out about it through the description. Then you can just go read it and stuff like that. As far as what as this goes and stuff like that, I may put that on there too, add that to the description or whatever like that. But I'm not sure as of yet. But I may add that to the description as well, this thing right here. But it is what it is. And yeah, to the next one later. And hope you enjoy. And once again, this is the AGR series introduction. Peace out and later. And hope you enjoy the series once it gets started. I don't know when I'm going to start. But till then, later.